Our own video today is called, What Can Batman Teach Us About Trading? So this is a topic that I want to explore. Now, first, I think Batman would study and create a plan. So imagine that he's in Gotham City and he needs to go rescue Harvey Dent before he turns into Two-Face. And so he's crafting a plan because the Joker, the Penguin, all the other baddies, they're out there doing their baddie thing, right? So he's not just going to sit on his backside. No. Dude is going to come up with Bruce Wayne is going to go up in the Batcave. He and Alfred, they're going to sit down. They're gonna go on the computer. This is before Jarvis, of course. They're going to go on the computer and they're going to come up with a plan, right? They're going to look at the schematics. They're going to look at maybe some DNA samples, and they're going to be like, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to rescue Harvey Dent and Rachel before bad things happen, right? Trying to reference the plot from the Dark Knight. And he would also do the same if he were going to make trades. What do I mean by that, right? Batman, dude is a genius, a billionaire. But at the same time, he's like, listen, the easiest way to become a millionaire in the market is to start as a billionaire. That is an adage. I don't want to do that. And certainly Bruce Wayne doesn't either. So he's like, what can I do to make sure that I do not become a millionaire since I'm already a billionaire? So he's going to create his plan. And in this plan, he's going to figure out where he would get in, where he would get out, why he would get in, why he would get out. And he would study. He would study. He would read the best 5 trading books that have ever existed. 1 is Trading in the Zone. 2 is How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market. 3 is Trend Following. 4 is The Complete Turtle Trader. And lastly, New Trader, Rich Trader, which is my all-time favorite trading book. So he would get these books. He would start crafting a plan. And then he would only start trading once he felt comfortable with that. Before he'd even really start trading, he would probably start paper trading. He would sit and he would enact that plan and he would backtest these signals. And he would come up with something that had a very high win rate. And if it didn't have a very high win rate, it would have a very high risk to return ratio where he could maybe win 1 out of 3 trades, but each trade that he won could be 3 times as big as his losers. Right? He would come up with something that had a positive expectancy before he did anything, before he put a single dime in the market at risk. And then next, Batman would remove all distractions, right? Even like this, the Joker, Two-Face, they're all up in his Batcave. Batman can't be phased, right? He's doing his thing. He's making his plan. And he's knowing exactly what he's going to do to save Rachel, who now is captured by Two-Face here. Rachel's been captured by Two-Face, and he's going to make sure that nothing bad happens to Rachel. And while the Joker, he's setting up the boats where it's got the prisoners on one side and the civilians on the other. And, one of the boats has to blow up or they both blow up. And so he's looking at the situation. He's like, okay, I got to make sure that I do the thing that helps the most people, right? He's got to remove any distractions he would have for himself, remove any distractions that he would have from outside forces, and really focus in on how is he going to execute the plan. And the same thing needs to happen for you and your trading plan, right? When you develop your trading plan, there will be jokers who come in and they'll say, now's the time to buy the dip. This is it. This is a generational wealth building opportunity right now. Buy Tesla today because it can only go up in the future. Buy Palantir today because it has had an incredible run. And of course, since it's already had an incredible run, it has to do it again. Or on the other side, Two-Face is over here and he's like, don't buy the dip, but only buy the dip if I say that you should buy the dip. Right? We covered one video where there was a channel exactly like that, talking out of both sides of his mouth. And so Batman would know, hey, I can't listen to any of this because I have one goal in mind, and that is to be profitable in the markets. And I'm gonna block out the Joker. I'm gonna block out Two-Face. I'm gonna block out everybody else out there, and I'm gonna focus in on just my plan. I'm gonna remove all distractions. And he would know exactly what he wanted to see. He'd be pointing at that screen and he'd be saying, you know what? This is the time. The Joker just robbed the bank. He killed all of his accomplices. They're driving away in a school bus. And I have to make sure that not only are all those school children safe, but that Joker is apprehended. So he's going through, he's making all these plans. And he will never FOMO into a different situation. He's like, I have to go take out Joker in that school bus before these innocent children get hurt. And even though there's somebody getting mugged around the corner, even though there's some other crime happening on the other side of Gotham City, he's looking at this. He's got a one-track mind. He's saying, I have to focus in. I have to focus in. Because I'm Batman. I'm Batman. And because Batman focuses in on what he wants to see, what he knows he needs to do, he doesn't have FOMO. Could he go fight some other baddies? Yeah, he could. Could he go fight the Penguin instead of going and helping all those innocent children get away from the Joker? Absolutely, he could. Could he go fight Two-Face? For sure. And Two-Face could flip his coin and could land on the wrong side, and then everything goes the wrong way for Batman because he wouldn't have FOMO. Batman would not have FOMO. He would have no mo FOMO because he would go and execute his plan to make sure that those innocent baby children were not hurt by the Joker. Dormuth, exactly. Batman locks in. Batman locks in. And you need to also lock in. So Batman would have created his plan, and Batman would have removed all of his distractions. And so at this point, there is no mo FOMO for Batman because he knows exactly what he needs to do, just like you would know what you need to do exactly when you are looking to put on new trades. Do you see the correlations here? You see why I'm trying to make these connections here? And so you would have no mo FOMO because you can sit and wait in cash for as long as it takes. Sit in cash as long as it takes. I'm going to pull up another slide. Sit in cash as long as it takes to see what you need. Mark Minervini says his 6 key trading rules. Number 1, sit in cash for proper setups. How long? As long as it takes. And Batman, if he were trading stocks, would do the exact same thing. And lastly, he would not set expectations on the trades. He would know exactly where he's going to get in and exactly where he's going to get out based on his own rules, right? None of these baddies sitting on his shoulder are going to say, hey, you need to get out. Hey, you need to get in. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do that. And Batman be like, oh, yeah, you're totally right. You know what? I'm going to throw my plan out the window and just listen to what you guys have to say. No. Batman would get in and out based on his own rules. He wouldn't have any expectations because Batman always follows his plan. Batman always follows his plan. He doesn't know what the outcome will be whenever he puts on a trade. He doesn't know how much he's going to make. He doesn't know if it's going to be a big trade, a big winner, a small winner, a break even, or a small loser. But Batman for sure as hell knows it ain't going to be a big loser. No way. He will make sure that does not happen. And the same thing as if he's fighting crime, right? He's either going to take out those guys and it's going to be a big win. He's going to take out the baddies around the corner and it's going to be a small win, maybe just like a small street crime thing. He might find an opportunity where it's just a break even, where he shows up and the other guy walks away. He's like, bro, okay, all right, I'm out of here. See you. I'm not going to mess with the Batman, right? Or maybe it's a small loser. Maybe Batman loses the battle this time, but he regroups. He puts his plan together for the next opportunity. But you better be sure one thing's true. Batman will never be written out of the comics. Batman will never die. Batman will never blow up his account. Batman is me. And somebody else is the Joker. Exactly. So this is going to be a new series that I'm really excited to go down. But the first part of this series is really focusing on creating a plan. Creating a plan. And by creating that plan, you will be unshakable. You will be undetermined. You will be completely locked in and focused on what you need to see in order to put on the trade. And you're not going to let YouTube gurus, people on Twitter, the news, whatever else comes through, deter you from that plan. Now, tomorrow, we'll go a little bit deeper on how Batman would trade. But the number one thing that he would do is create his plan and start executing his plan to the T with absolute no chance that he would ever go against it. So let's go look at what the market's telling us, right? This is my plan. And it starts with the master key. What is the market telling us? So with the master key, It starts with the SPY buy or sell signal. And if we look over here on Outlier, the SPY still is sitting on a buy signal since March 28th. We can go look at that real quick. Now, a buy signal within a downtrend, to me, would be considered a buy to close your shorts. Take your shorts off at this point is what this would mean. So that's the first thing that I see that's bullish for the market. Next, the market trend. The market trend, when we apply the Outlier trend template, the Batman's trend template here, if you want to think about it, has the 10 under the 20, prices under the 50. This is categorically, unequivocally, hands downedly, mostly for suredly a downtrend. This is a downtrend, hands down. Trends do bend though. But currently what we see on the chart is the trend is down. Next, market breadth. Let's go take a look at market breadth. Market breadth measures how many stocks that we have on the buy list versus the sell list. Now today we've got 27 new names on the buy list, including Sandy Spring, including C Limited, including Cisco, and including Target. And then we have 68 names on the sell list, including AM, Antero Midstream, BLD, Top Build Corp, and Cadence Bancorp, amongst others. So this number here is reflective in the market breadth. How many stocks are we looking at that have the buy signals? How many stocks are we looking at that have the buy signals? You can see it's actually peaked, short-term peak, and is starting to come back down. And then we apply a moving average to that. We can see a crossover point today. So today, market breadth is getting weaker. So we have a bullish signal, a bearish trend, bearish market breadth. And we can look at a couple sectors. Let's look at the discretionary sector. Discretionary sector actually has a lot of bullish behind it, a lot of stocks with buy signals, but it looks like it may have peaked and started coming back down as well. Let's look at the tech sector. Yeah, let's go look at the tech sector. This one also peaked and is coming back down. So you're probably wondering, why would the market breadth be going up over the last couple of weeks while the market's been going down? And to me, that looked like an opportunity for people to, again, take off their shorts, short covering. And that short covering rally is exactly what we saw right here. But now looks like it's coming back down. So to me, when I look at this, the master key is all locked up right now. You've got a bullish signal, a mixed bunch of signals, a bearish signal, and a bearish trend right there. So for me, that would exclude me from trading because I'm Batman. I'm going to follow my plan. And nothing, no YouTuber, no anybody is going to pressure me to put on trades because I have no FOMO. I will sit here and I'll wait as long as I need to before I put on another trade. But I do want to take a look at your stocks and I do want to rank them. So put them in the chat. Go ahead right now and let's look at a few of your stocks. I want to see if you're looking at something like NVIDIA, put long. I want to look at it from the same perspective you are. So like NVIDIA long or Palantir short or Apple long and what's another stock? Coke short, right? Tell me what you're looking at right now as I drink a little Coke Zero over here out of my DuckTales mug. Wes, exactly. No FOMO. There is no FOMO. Tony wants to look at KMX long. So KMX long from Mr. Tiger over here. KMX long. This is CarMax. CarMax just got a buy signal a couple days ago. Now, it looks like the 10-20-50 has not crossed yet. So looking at this, right, we got the buy signal, so that's a positive, but we're still in a bearish trend. That's a negative to me. It is getting less fearful, moving towards greed. It's currently at 39 on the fear and greed, and that would put it somewhere right around here, where it's almost to neutral, since that's in the 39 zone right there. However, the discretionary sector looked like it was getting less fearful, might start to get a little bit more fearful here. So on this chart, I don't see a lot that's positive for me. And if I go over here, KMX, let's look for any order blocks before they get put into Outlier very, very soon. Not yet. It does have earnings coming soon. This could be a great opportunity to run up into earnings. But as of right now, I would rank KMX as a weak sell. I would rank KMX as a weak sell. It wouldn't be a strong sell because we do have a buy signal. But that's about the only positive thing that I see on KMX so far. But I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Um, Vincent wants to look at GDS. 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 Oh, there's some news out here. Check this out. Why GDS plummeted this week. That happened about a week or so ago. That was negative. GDS Holdings upgrade. GDS stock plummeted 14% a couple weeks ago. Holy cow. What's going on with these analyst ratings here? Outperformed to strong buy with the $53 price target from hold to buy. I mean, that's an upgrade. Is this an upgrade? Outperformed to strong buy? It might be. Honestly, I don't know how they rank theirs over at Raymond James, but I would consider this an upgrade. Either way, $45, $53 price targets, and it's currently sitting around 25 right now. So check this out. This is a great example of how we use the behavioral heat map right here. Down here shows the fear and greed level for every stock and then for every sector. And we do have an upgrade coming that'll show the readout on what the value is, but the value goes from 1 to 100. Recently, when it had this giant move up in February, it had peaked at 96. 96 on the fear and greed right there. We're talking like nearly all the way maxed out on the fear and greed. And we've talked about this before, but the farther it gets, the more likely it is to snap back. And look exactly what happened right there. It snapped so hard, going from a heat map value of 96 now to heat map value of 44. So it went from extreme greed to neutral within the span of a couple days. I mean, maybe a couple weeks here. Yeah, let's say a couple weeks. That's how quickly things can evaporate, right? And that's not what you're looking for. When you're in a stock, you want it growing. Like on the buy signal that came on February 5th, you can see it had reached the bottom and the greed had started to grow. But then we got the buy signal, and then it got into that 10, 20, 50 uptrend, and then rocket ships higher. So that was a really cool one a couple of weeks ago. But looking at, hang on, where did it go? Vincent, where is yours? Yeah, I got to find your thing on here because I want to make sure you're looking long or short. So Vincent's looking from it on the long side. So sell signal, it's within the downtrend on the moving averages. It's getting more fearful. The sector's getting more fearful. And then let's double check for any order blocks. No order blocks in the way. Actually, you're not going to want to hear this, but I would actually rank this as a strong sell, especially with the market being weak. GDS is a strong sell to me. Is this useful? Type a 1 in the chat if ranking these stocks like this way is useful to you, because what I'm trying to do is build up the case for you when you're looking at these stocks. Are the trends for the market working for you? Are the trends for the stock working for you? Is it getting more greedy or less greedy? Is there any order block that might be helping you or hindering you in your way? Tell me in the chat, number 1, if these are, please type in the chat. Number 1, if the rankings are helpful. Number 2, if it's like, Chris, just keep your opinions to yourself and tell me what you see on the chart. It's not going to hurt me either way. Deep Thought wants to look at Gotham Long. Aussie Ian, NUTX Long. NUTX Long. Aussie Ian, you're on the wrong side of the world for NUTX. I don't know. We don't cover that one just yet in Outlier. We cover 2,500 stocks and we're adding more all the time. So we don't have NUTX, but let's look at it just from the chart. So looking at it just from the chart, we can see right here that it does have 2 order blocks. Looks like earnings were last night and a giant move up over these 2 order blocks at earnings. Now, Aussie Ian, what I'd like you to do is go into your charting platform, put a line on the bottom of this candle. If within 3 days, this does not go below here, but if it does close below here in the next 3 days, I would consider that a gap and crap and I would get out of it. If it does not within the next 3 days, it actually may be a gap and go, which is a fantastic thing to see after earnings. But you're going to have to give it a couple days to figure out if it will or will not continue on with that. So I don't have all the data for this one, but I would put this as a weak buy. As a weak buy. And of course, a double order block right there that it's about to crest through could be fantastic. Let's look at Andrus wants to look at CAH long. Okay, check it out. So CAH long, it's in an uptrend, which is why it's green in the background. Your 10, 20, 50s are all across north. You've got your buy signal that came through. The stock itself is getting more greedy. It's currently sitting at 66 on the greed value. So that puts it right over here, which is great. I'm not opposed to it being in the greed value as long as the greed value is going up. The sector, however, getting a little bit less greedy, a little bit more fearful. Let's look on the chart over here, CAH. I don't see anything in the way of this one. So for me, I would actually rank this as a weak buy. Nobody's going to get a strong buy because the market is not strong right now. We already talked about that with the master key. So this would actually be a solid weak buy for me. I see a lot of great potential for CAH, but of course, know where your risk is at. Bat to the moon for Batman. KMX to cover, a buy and a red overlay. Let's go back to KMX. Yes, you could be reading that correctly. Absolutely. Absolutely. So a buy signal within a downtrend would be covering your shorts. I mean, it could be an opportunity for you to get long, but in this case, this would be an opportunity for me to take off my shorts. Yes, I will refer to it that. I will refer to it that as that. Does Motley Fool hold any relevance? Well, let me ask you this, Michael. If you built your trading plan around what Motley Fool gives you, then it could be. But for me and my trading plan, I don't even look at it. I haven't looked at the Motley Fool in ages. So we are adding new stocks all the time, but it does take some time to gather the data. So we are working on it constantly. Let's see. Chris, can we take a couple off the bull list daily and see how some of those picks looks and how they could perform? For sure. So the way that I would look at what's on the bull list is I would use the screener. So the screener is like the bull list on steroids, right? Over here, we've got 27 new today, but you can pop this button open. And if you go back to my older videos, you'll actually see me doing this manually, but the screener does a lot of this work for us. So it'll show you a lot of information, like when the buy signal came through of these 27 names, the overlays. So the overlays, we talked about the green, that's your 10, 20, 50 upward. The red is your 10, 20, 50 downward. And the white is when it's in betwixt those 2 points. The last day close and the average volume. So for me, I look at things that have green overlays, and I want to make sure that it has over 1 million average daily volume. So I can just go over to the screener and make this happen lickety split. Right? I can look over here and I can say, okay, EQR and TMUS, both of those had buy signals today. Let's see, where's EQR and TMUS? There's TMUS right there, and EQR might have passed it. I don't know where it is. Oh, a little bit further. Got to load more. EQR right there, right? So for my criteria that I want to see, I want a positive return because all of these stocks, we do an instant back test. It makes life so easy when you can say, hey, how did outlier signals perform? You just go clicky, clicky, boom. Outlier up 29% while the stock was down 5.56%. That's pretty good to me. Now, we got a buy signal right here. That green overlay just started. The stock itself is getting more greedy. It's up at 58. And the real estate sector itself is getting more greedy. I'm telling you right now, the way that I've set up my scanner, I wouldn't even let anything that's a weak buy or a neutral come across my portfolio. I would not let anything, if it were, and this is why I'm Batman, I would not let anything unless it was the mostest, topest, notchest, bestest stock that I could ever find, even have my money for 1 red cent. Not even a chance. So, of course, my screener will only pass on the things that are the most set up. Does that mean I'll win every time? No. But that means I will never put on a trade that is outside of my trading plan. So I look for positive returns, greater than 1 million shares average daily volume with a buy signal. This is a new thing that we added not all that long ago, right after the election. In fact, this is why I added it right after the election, because November was my only losing month last year. I was so bummed. Let me show you my results from last year real quick. Hold tight. So I don't trade all that often. Literally 49 trades since May of last year. When we started using the master key, these are the results that I had. In May, I had 14%, no trades in June. In July, 12%, August, 30%, September 8%, in October 6.9%, and in November I had a negative 8.2%. Now, not any of them were all that big either, but my win rate was close to 70%. Before November, it was like 85+%. So one thing that happened was I got caught in this move right here. I got caught right around here where I was putting on trades, everything lined up, and then it immediately reversed down and took out my stops. So I said, okay, you know what? I want to make sure that when I put on trades, I don't get stuck with a trade that's already gone too far. So that's where I amended my trading plan to include this right here, which is in the next 5 days, or I should say in the last 5 days, it's moved 5% or less, either 5% up or 5% down, but a 5% cap either way. So really a 10% window in the last 5 days, because I want to get in before the outlier move happens, not after the outlier move has already started. Heat map, we talked about that. That's a behavioral heat map when it's moving up. And the overlay indicator, that's your green overlays, meaning the trend template's already in place. So these are what I would have picked up on the screener here. So, and you know, teamless right here would be the same story, right? I'm not letting anything, unless it's the very best setup in the world, come through here. And even then, even though this is the very best setup in the world to me, because it fits all of my criteria, the market's going the opposite direction, right? And as you guys know, the market momentum motto is 40% of the move of a stock is due to the market. The market's going down. I'm not going to fight that. 30% is due to the sector. The sector is going down. I'm not going to fight that. So even if we have a stock that is the bestest in the marketist right now, I'm not putting it on. I don't have to, because I got data that proves, because I'm Batman. I got data to prove. You know what? Sitting in cash for as long as it takes, that's going to pay. And that's okay with me. So, lots of ones. Very cool. I'm really glad that that's helping. Lots and lots of ones. So many ones. It's like everybody wrote a one. Thank you for that. We even got an Uno in here. More opinions. Gene's asking about Celsius. Over on Celsius. Let's look at Celsius. Yes, we do. We have one below. So this must have just come through today, because order blocks take a few days to develop. And then we've got one above. So it could bounce in this area for a minute. But up here, it's around almost $39. So it does have some move to the upside. So real quick, let me introduce myself. My name is Christopher Yule. I've twice been awarded top 100 people in finance. I was mentored by 5 of the market wizards, the best traders of all time. I've been successfully trading since 2009. And this is where outliers like us save time, make money, and start winning with less risk together as a team. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. And real quick, what is Outlier and how does it work? Well, old Uncle Warren used to say, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. Outlier shows you if investors are acting irrationally fearful or greedy, and by how much, allowing you to get into the stock move, or get in the stock before the outlier move happens. And if you're ready to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk, you can head over to outlier.com and save 64% off the monthly price by getting the annual pass, which is just 82 cents a day. And if you're already on the monthly plan, you can, with one click, upgrade like that. Now, my style of trading using Outlier is called the golden ticket trading strategy, and it's where only price pays. It starts with the master key, right? On the market trend right here, a couple new slides. Market trend and market breadth are what fill in the master key. And I'm locked out of the market due to the master key, but that's okay. So I want to take a few minutes now to go look at today's member highlight over in our Discord. So over in our Discord, I have an area that's called Questions from You. Once I can find it. Where's it at? Questions from You. And I want to start answering these questions in the live stream because I feel like this is super useful. In fact, since I brought up my results here, Laurent had asked, if you're only trading when the master key is unlocked in a choppy or bad market, you can be locked out for months on end. Can you make enough on the unlocked days to make up for being locked out the rest of the time? For example, what proportion of the time did you trade in 2022 compared to 23 and 24? Well, in 22, there were opportunities, just like there were different opportunities in 23 and 24. We don't know how many opportunities will be given to us. We do not know that. But we will be market aware. We'll be looking for new opportunities every day. If I can only make a handful of trades with a 50-50 probability, I can see returns not being so great in some years. So returns could depend on the number of trades you make in a year with a 2-to-1 risk return. Absolutely. So that's why I want to share this, right? 49 trades in the span from May to November last year. That's it. I'm averaging 4 trades a month in the calendar year. But actually, how many trades would that be? From May would be the 5th month, November would be the 11th month. So 6 months. So 49 trades divided by 6 months. So eight trades a month is what I actually did. And I came out with I would say a decent return. I mean, it probably could have been a lot better, but a decent return nonetheless. So you don't have to be very active, but you do have to be ready to make those trades when the opportunities come. Absolutely. Let's go up and answer a couple other questions here. Is there a way to sort your bull and bear list by backtest rating? So in this regard, I would go over to the screener button, and then it's going to show the outlier signal return, and then you can sort low to high. Now, these would still be active, meaning it would still fit all of my criteria or your criteria, and it would sort by signal return. So you could go, actually, let's sort by high to low. Then you can see like SFM sprouts March 26th. So a few days ago, still would have an active buy signal with a 415% return. So I think that's pretty sweet. That's the way that I would do that. Let's continue on here. For a couple others that I had screenshotted. Here we go. So in this video, Tom Lee, buy this stock and never work again. Right, all those clickbait titles. Thank you for the video. At 9:08, you mentioned to be risk first by making sure that we get out of trades instead of holding on to them. When do you know it's time to get out? Thanks in advance. Well, first off, the answer is, what is your plan to get out? My plan to get out is different than your plan to get out. And so, I'm always going to ask you what your plan is, because I can tell you everything in the world. In fact, I didn't come up with this quote. One of the people that I wish I had got mentored by came up with this. I always say you could publish rules in a newspaper and nobody would follow them. The key is consistency and discipline. This is Richard Dennis, who was potentially one of the greatest traders of all time. By 29 years old, dude had made 290, not 29. At 29 years old, he made $290 million in the market. Bro, are you kidding? Man, if I had known what he'd known at 29, I would probably be the first person colonizing Mars at this point. But to that point, he put all of his rules down in books. He told people about it all the time. The thing is that nobody would follow them. It's consistency and discipline at the end of the day that's going to make or break your trading. So to this question, right? How do you know it's the optimal time to get out? Well, for me, I have a few sell signals, right? And this is why I say I have no expectations on any of these trades, because I don't know where my sell signal is going to come. I have no expectations on where the sell signal will come, and I have no profit targets. It's just one of these things is going to happen, right? So for me, I'll be looking at the 10 EMA. If price closes below the 10 EMA, like on Celsius, if price closed under 33.88, that would be an exit signal for me, or a half ATR from entry. Let's say that I got in here at 36.01 or 36.05, and a half ATR just for giggles was at 36.81. If it closed under that, I would get out. Now, if it closed between the 2 points, between the half ATR and the 10 EMA, what would I do? Closed under one but above the other, what would I do? I would still close, right? Larry Hite taught me this. So Larry Hite was one of my mentors, the very first billion-dollar hedge fund manager and one of the market wizards. If you want to learn directly from Larry, you can go to my YouTube channel. I'll show you where. Hang on. You can go directly to my YouTube channel. This is about to be an inception, by the way. Okay, it didn't work. I thought I was going to show this video as we're watching this video. You can go over to playlists. You can go down to Market Wizards, and you can watch this video here where I got to learn an amazing amount of information directly from Larry. So definitely take the time to go watch that sometime. But to that point, Larry told me you can only move your stops up. Meaning, if you're using the 10 EMA and it's going up you're reducing your risk every single day. But if you're using the 10 EMA and it's going down while your trade is going up, well, it's unlikely to happen, but let's say, for example, that it was. If you're moving your stop down because you just don't want to take it, you don't want to be stopped out of it. You don't want to have to take this trade off. It's just not working. So I'm gonna continue moving my stop down. That is not allowed in this game. No. You're not allowed to do that. That is not okay to do. So stops can only be moved up if you're long, or only be moved down if you're short. If it runs into any order blocks, if the outlier heat map stalls, meaning, let's go look at a stock. Let's go look at TMUS. So here's an example of the heat map getting more and more greedy. This is what you want. This is what you want so bad. More and more greedy as the stocks rocket ship higher, right? But then it peaked. It peaked 91.17, 91.10. That would be an exit signal, which coincided with the sell signal right here. So that would be an exit for me. And then as you can see, it went sideways from that point. Sideways since February 21st. So 6 weeks, it's gone sideways. The greed left it, started to get a little bit of fear, and now the greed's coming back in. That is a very good exit signal. In fact, that is like my favorite exit signal, is looking for the heat maps to change direction. And so if I'm going long, let's look at this real quick. The buy signal came when it was way back here. The buy signal came way back here. Now it did sell off some before it turned around, but the buy signal came way back here, and it came at 74. So I might have been getting in at 74, 75, 76, 76.50. Wait a minute. Okay, 76.35. That's an exit signal right before this drop happened. Now, you can see this buy signal ended up being profitable later on, but that's how I look at it, is I'm looking for, what is the heat map doing? Is it getting more and more greedy or less and less greedy? And if it reaches a certain point, how much more room am I going to let it run before it snaps back? I'd be able to get out. And then this question here. The problem with buying the dip is you never know how much longer it's going to keep dropping. Cisco is one of the most extreme examples. It reached a peak in the early 2000s, late 90s, and it was dropping for around 2 years nonstop. 25 years later, it's not recovered that price. How long are you willing to buy the dip? Yeah. In fact, there was a comment one day on one of Jeremy's videos, and it was talking about, buy AMD now. It's a generational low. It's only going to go up from here. And the comments were saying, I ran out of money to buy the dip, but it still hasn't done anything yet. Another person, he was talking about SoFi, and they were saying, my goal was to make $1,000 in SoFi. Now I need to make 2,000. Right? We don't know the date that the dip will stop, but we do know when the dip is over. And that's by using the 10 over the 20, price over the 50. Now back to AMD, right? The 10 was over the 20, price was over the 50, but it came back down. And that's why I tell you guys, that doesn't mean that when it's going up, it's only going to go up forever. You can go back so many times. I say you're going to make a buck or lose a buck, but overall, as long as you keep your risk in check, even if you're on the wrong side of the trend and it doesn't work out, that's okay. So be sure to share your stories in the Discord, your questions, your stories. I love to hear from you. And of course, the first rule of Outlier is you tell everyone about Outlier and you hit the like button. So no trade set up for me today, but that's all right. We got to cover lots of great information. And if you're an influencer of any size to any niche, we want to work with you. Send us an email over at support@outlier.com and come back tomorrow where outliers like us will save time, make money, and start winning less risk together as a team. Now, YouTube is going to pop up a couple recommended videos. I recommend you click one of them, and I also recommend you have a fantastic day.